My flight was delayed, so I missed my son's birthday. Isabella deleted all the research papers from my computer, and Louis smashed the toy I'd stood in line for 3 hours to buy him. Then, mother and son both slammed the door and left. In that moment, a sudden weariness washed over me, and then live comments started flooding my vision. At the end of the day, this is the husband's fault. He promised those two high-strung people he'd be back on time and was still half an hour late. People with insecurity issues are going to get upset. He needs to open the door and apologize to those two poor things. They even had the Polaroid ready to go. They just wanted a perfect family photo. It's just because the wife cares about him so much. The kid definitely got his mom's genes. So the husband just needs to be more patient and sweet-talk them a little. Just looking at the faces of that mother and son makes my heart melt. They both treat him like he's their whole world. I'm so here for it. Oh my God. My little baby's eyes are all red. This is so heartbreaking. I sighed softly and was about to walk toward the door when it suddenly swung open. Isabella stared at me, her voice ice-cold. Since you love your job so much, let's just get a divorce. Louis, standing in the doorway and refusing to come in, added flatly, I hate you. I'm going with Mom. My breath caught in my throat, a dull ache spreading through my chest. Okay. Even though she got the answer she wanted, Isabella still didn't seem satisfied. She kicked the suitcase I had just dragged in, then swept Louis into the elevator with her. She didn't even look back. I went into the bedroom and started packing. Let me in there to explain. This woman has no idea how to communicate. She just wanted him to go out to dinner with them. Would it kill her to just say that nicely? Hey, you can't really blame her. Think about it, even in high school, she was being abused by her alcoholic stepfather. She only survived because the main character saved her. With so many people into him, it's normal for her to feel insecure and not know how to express herself. Everyone relax. He's definitely not going to leave. These are the two people he loves most in the world. Besides, if he left, the wife honestly wouldn't be able to go on. He should just go into the kitchen right now, whip up a huge, fancy dinner, and then make a few more phone calls to apologize. Everything will be fine. I kept packing my bag while texting a friend who's a lawyer. I wasn't paying attention to the live comments anymore. I've lost count of how many times Isabella has dragged Louis into one of our fights. The word divorce had become a frequent guest in our lives. They would intentionally refuse to eat the meals I cooked for them after work, or pour out the milk I warmed for them before bed. Once, they even turned off my phone alarm, even though I had repeatedly stressed that I had a critical surgery the next morning. When I found out, Isabella just hugged Louis protectively. He's just a child. He only wants his dad around on the weekend. I was rushing to get to the hospital and could only shoot her a furious glare. He might not know any better, but you do. My phone has a passcode. Louis couldn't even recognize all the numbers yet. When I came home from work that night, all my luggage was thrown outside the front door. My clean clothes from the closet, my skincare products from the bathroom vanity, the books from my study. Louis stood in the doorway, crying and screaming, blocking me from coming in. He said I was the worst dad in the world and that he wanted Uncle Caleb to be his dad instead. 6 surgeries in one day had left me utterly exhausted. I knelt in front of him, trying to coax him patiently. Can you just let Daddy in, please? Daddy hasn't eaten anything all day. The door was slammed shut by a grim-faced Isabella. The keypad code had been changed. Couldn't get in. When my best friend, Jax, came to pick me up, he found me slumped pathetically in a messy pile of my own clothes. He yanked me up, shaking his head in frustration, and yelled at the door, "You know how many women would kill to be with Ethan? And he's here taking this crap from you? I'll set him up with 10 beautiful women from great families right now. What the hell is wrong with you people?" That same night, Isabella showed up at Jax's front door, holding Louis. It was the middle of a brutal Boston winter, with wind and sleet. The cold cut right to the bone. Isabella knelt before me, her eyes red, and begged for forgiveness. "Ethan, I'm so sorry. I just love you too much. I don't know why I lose control. Besides you, no one else in this world can handle my temper. You know that as long as you just talk to me nicely, I'll calm down." Louis's little face was pale blue from the cold. He reached out his arms and lunged toward me. "Daddy, hold me. Hold Louis. Louis won't make Daddy angry ever again." One was the person I'd loved since high school, and the other was the child we'd waited years for. No one knew them better than I did. So I chose to forgive them, but the peace never lasted. Isabella would still fly off the handle at the slightest inconvenience. Sometimes, a few sweet words were enough. Other times, like today, she'd demand a divorce. As Louis got older, his personality, temper, and way of dealing with people became more and more like his mother's. And I got more and more tired. This time, I really did want a divorce. My things were everywhere in the house. The dishes in the kitchen, the teacup on the table, the photos on the wall. I had arranged every single detail myself. I didn't know where to start packing. It seemed like all the essentials were already in the suitcase I'd brought back with me. I had just spent a month in New York City for an advanced training program at a top hospital. I finished up at 3 p.m. today, grabbed my suitcase, and raced to the airport. I even took a nasty fall along the way. But due to a storm, my flight was delayed. I got home half an hour later than I'd promised I would for Louis's birthday. When I walked in, Isabella was sitting on the sofa, her face a thundercloud as she interrogated me. "Why didn't you buy an earlier ticket? Weren't you paying any attention to the weather? Do you even care about Louis? Do you even care about me? In your heart, are a bunch of strangers more important than us?" Furious, Louis snatched the toy from my hands and smashed it on the floor. Then he started stomping on it, each crunch feeling like it was grinding on my heart. "I hate you, Daddy. You don't keep your promises. You're never on time. Bad Daddy. Bad Daddy." While waiting for the elevator, I opened my phone. I happened to see a new post on the social feed of Isabella's childhood friend, Caleb. He was the Uncle Caleb Louis was always talking about, celebrating the little guy's birthday. "Hope Louis is happy every day. You too." Isabella's almost unnaturally perfect profile was right there in the picture. Next to her, Louis, with a smear of cream on his nose, was holding up a spoon to feed the person taking the photo. One was laughing, one was playing, and one was capturing the moment. Compared to me, they looked more like a family of three. Oh no, he's totally going to misunderstand. The wife is just forcing a smile. Her phone is on full volume, just waiting for him to call her. Why does it feel like the husband is actually mad this time? Please, God, don't let this be a tragedy. My little Louis is still so young, he's just more sensitive than other kids. Caleb is just a prop. He's a test for their relationship. Life is never a smooth ride. The husband needs to get a grip. Exactly. Just go find them, apologize properly, and since she loves you so much, this moody woman will definitely forgive you. I tried calling Isabella, wanting to tell her that Louis had his kindergarten readiness interview tomorrow. The divorce was a problem between the adults. It shouldn't be used as a weapon to mess with our child's education. But the call was immediately hung up. I tried again. Blocked. I dialed Louis's number. It was noisy on the other end. It sounded like Caleb wasn't the only one there. I mean, Isabella, what are you fighting with Ethan about this time? Are you really not afraid he'll actually divorce you? There was about 3 seconds of silence on the other end. Then, Isabella scoffed, sounding completely unconcerned. The divorce threat works on Ethan every single time. You guys know how hard he chased me in high school. All these years of marriage, every time I get upset, he's the one who apologizes like crazy. He can't leave me. The room erupted in laughter. I was wondering why I never got you, even though we grew up together. Turns out being a total simp is the way to win in the end. Huh? Caleb's tone was dismissive. I never would have guessed. Ethan seems so quiet and respectable on the surface, but I guess he'll do anything behind the scenes. Totally. The way he pursued Isabella was legendary. He even got into a fight with her stepfather. And remember, for Isabella, he turned down an offer from a top medical school abroad. Johns Hopkins, wasn't it? Insisted on staying in Boston, saying he wanted to build a home for her. Ha 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 ha. I gripped my phone so tightly my knuckles turned white, just to keep it from slipping out of my hand. So, what I thought was patience and constant compromise was just what Isabella felt she was entitled to. So, it wasn't that she was insecure and kept starting fights just to feel seen. She was just brazen. She was convinced I couldn't leave her, that I was just a simp she had wrapped around her little finger. I found a furnished apartment for rent on the other side of the city. Move-in ready. Perfect for someone who has suddenly decided to get a divorce. The building was full of people, a lot of them recent grads just starting their careers. I remember back in college, Isabella hated the food from the campus cafeteria. She would either starve herself or order random, unhealthy takeout. Her stomach was already weak, and after 6 months of that, she was thinner than ever. So, I rented a small apartment off campus and cooked for her every day, trying out new recipes. Medical school was demanding, and during finals, there was barely time to even nap. But I still made sure she had 3 meals a day, reminding her to eat well. Back then, she would obediently finish everything I made. Later, she slowly started learning from me, venturing into the kitchen to follow online tutorials and make me soup when I was swamped. But ever since we got married, everything seemed to change. Isabella would casually waste the food I worked so hard to cook. She wouldn't allow anything to be prioritized over her, for any reason. Maybe it's because I haven't been alone in a long time. I was only just now realizing that a small one-bedroom apartment could be so clean and tidy, that I could have complete freedom over my time after work, that I could choose what to eat, what to do, and what to read without having to consider anyone else's feelings. It felt unfamiliar, but I was enjoying it. On my 3rd day after moving out, a colleague saw me casually walking to the parking garage and couldn't help but ask, "Not rushing home today? I used to see you running out of here before you even had time to change your shoes." I smiled. "Yeah, I can take my time from now on." My colleague nodded in approval. "That's great. This job is stressful enough to kill you. If you have a pile of drama waiting at home too, that's just a whole new level of misery." Yeah. That was my brand of misery for 6 whole years. And now I was finally free. That evening, I got a call from Louis. He was screaming into the phone. "Stupid daddy. Dumb daddy. Bad daddy. Why didn't you take me to my interview? Sienna got her new school uniform and I got nothing. I don't care. I don't care. You have to come back and take me to the interview right now." I paused. I remembered that after Isabella hung up on me, I texted her friend. I had asked her to remind Isabella to take our son to his elementary school interview. At the very least, the most important events of the month were posted on the whiteboard by the front door. She should have seen it. I called her friend's number. She stammered for a while before finally admitting that Isabella hadn't been home for the past few days. I mentioned it to Izzy that day, but I don't know if she paid any attention. And, well, it was Louis's birthday, and he was begging to go to Disney World in Orlando. Izzy was hesitating, but Caleb helped convince her. So they just went. "I see," I said. Her voice immediately shifted to a tone of admonishment, with a hint of blame. "Ethan, I'm not trying to criticize you, but work is work, and family is family. How could you not personally take your son to something as important as his school interview? Even if Izzy blocked you, you should have followed up again and again. Louis is your son, after all." I cut her off. "He's Isabella's son, too. I've never believed that a child is solely the father's responsibility." Louis's interview was written on the whiteboard by the front door, visible every single day. Why could I remember it? But Isabella, even after being reminded repeatedly, still couldn't. "Come on, Ethan, you never used to be like this. Izzy is just so obsessed with you, and she's terrible at saying what she means. I'm telling you, stop fighting with her. Just come back and sort out this school situation for Louis." I hung up the phone, and then blocked the number. If your values don't align, don't share a table. After all, in a world of crows, the swan is always the one at fault. Oh crap, the husband seems genuinely pissed. But really, fathers should be more hands-on. Our Izzy is still a child herself. How can she be expected to take good care of a kid? Yeah, whenever the husband is around, the wife's IQ just drops. It's because she's so dependent on him. She trusts him completely. I saw that she was staring at her phone the whole time they were in Orlando a few days ago. She only had him blocked for one night. The wife is just awkward and sensitive. If the husband doesn't go back and save her soon, she's probably going to shut down again. It's so sad. Is he really abandoning his wife and child? How can you take the things a little kid does seriously? The husband is being pretty selfish, honestly. After all this, has anyone felt sorry for the husband? The man has a career and dreams. Why should he have to revolve his life around these two idiots? Why did I have to revolve my life around her? The point of love shouldn't be about one person saving the other, or about my usefulness to her. It should be about wanting the other person's life force to flourish, about being together and wishing that moment could last forever. It should be about two people walking side by side, through storms and sunshine, illuminating each other's paths and helping each other become whole. But Isabella, do you really want me to have any life force at all? In all these years, there has been almost no moment that has made me see a future for us. 2 days later, in the emergency room, a once-in-a-century torrential downpour hit Boston, and the number of car accident victims was unusually high. We had barely finished treating one wave of patients before the next emergency call came in. When I finally stepped out of the trauma bay, the ER reception area was already in chaos. Wiping the blood from my scrubs, I glanced over. It was Isabella and a few of her friends. Caleb was in a wheelchair, and little Louis stood beside him, his mouth in a pout, nervously clutching his hand. I'm warning you, you will treat his wound right now, or I'm calling to file a complaint against all of you. Ma'am, I'm sorry, but you'll have to be seen in the order of your ticket number. The nurse was trying to manage Isabella while simultaneously taking the vitals of a newly arrived patient. Don't give me that runaround. My friend fell down the stairs, and his knee is bleeding. I demand you get your best doctor over here immediately. Isabella cut her off impatiently. Or I'll make sure you regret it. After college, Isabella rode the AI boom, leveraging business opportunities and city grants to become a major player in the tech world. She had accumulated a significant amount of wealth and connections. She certainly had the means to make life difficult for frontline medical staff like us, who worked ourselves to the bone but had no powerful backers. I just never thought that she, someone who had also clawed her way up from the bottom, would one day use her so-called privilege to oppress others. Dr. Evans is here. A nurse, just about to call for backup, spotted me nearby. The noisy group fell silent in an instant. They all turned to look at me. Caleb, who had been looking perfectly calm, suddenly twisted his face into an expression of extreme pain. Isabella shot me a look, her tone demanding. I am ordering you to treat Caleb right now. Aren't you the most dedicated doctor here? A few of the people with her exchanged awkward glances. Ethan, we just finished dinner, and Caleb missed a step on his way out and took a tumble. The nurse rushed to my side. Dr. Evans, his blood pressure and pulse are normal, but they want to cut the line. I carefully examined Caleb's wound and, maintaining my professional responsibility, explained, the ER has triage protocols. Only critically ill or injured patients can jump the queue. Mr. Miller has no chest pain or shortness of breath, nor is he having trouble breathing, and his vital signs are stable. He does not meet the criteria. Ethan, do you have to be like this? Caleb looked up, his face a mask of wounded pride. I know you've always had a problem with me. Louis has been upset these last few days, and I'm the one who's been with him. Today, I was just worried he was going to run into the street, and that's why Mr. Miller, the reason for your injury does not determine whether you can cut the line. You're a bad person, Daddy. You're always trying to hurt Uncle Caleb. Louis darted out from somewhere and slammed into me with all his might. I won't let anyone hurt my favorite Uncle Caleb. I staggered back several steps before catching my balance. Louis, come back. We're going to another hospital. Isabella pulled Caleb up and turned toward the hospital exit. You're not the only hospital in this city. I will be filing a complaint against every single person here, including you. She gave me one last cold look. Caleb leaned his head on Isabella's shoulder, his eyes red-rimmed. The whispers started up behind me. Is that Dr. Evans' wife? She has 0 class. Dr. Evans seems so nice and even-tempered. How did he end up with someone like that? The guy seems illiterate and legally clueless. I suspect Dr. Evans was set up, and that kid must be his son, right? He's also a piece of work. I lowered my eyes, a bitter smile on my face. My chest felt as if it were being crushed by a giant stone. This was the choice I had stubbornly made all those years ago, and now I was willing to pay the price for it. But I don't regret any of my decisions. What I need to reflect on is my own judgment and perception, not to doubt my own simple, pure sincerity and kindness. I'm not the bad one here. Isabella is. The live comments appeared again. This guy is so blind. Can't he see the wife is just putting on an act for him? She deliberately mentioned divorce so he wouldn't be embarrassed by her at the hospital. I'm literally crying over this star-crossed love story full of misunderstandings. I hate plots where the main characters refuse to just talk. Is it that hard for the husband to just apologize? The wife would come running back and curl up in his arms like a kitten. Ethan, can't you remember all the suffering she went through as a child? Have some pity on your wife who can't express her feelings. This is giving me a heart attack. He can't possibly think she actually likes Caleb, can he? If he just coaxes our Izzy a little, she wouldn't even look at another man. After a 36-hour shift, I finally had a rare weekend to get some real sleep. Maybe because I was so exhausted, I slept for a solid 10 hours. I didn't even dream, and I certainly didn't think about Isabella and Louis. The phone on my nightstand suddenly started vibrating. It was Isabella. She must have realized I'd blocked her, so she was using a new number. She sounded like she hadn't slept all night. Her voice hoarse. Where did you put the stomach medicine? I frowned slightly. The first cabinet on the left as you walk in. I could hear the sounds of her rummaging through things. Half a minute later. I'm only calling you because I can't find the medicine. Caleb had some cold watermelon this morning and his stomach is a little upset. He's been staying here since he hurt his leg. I made a non-committal sound and offered a sincere suggestion. Once his leg is better, you two should organize the house together. That way you'll know where everything is. There was a few seconds of silence on the other end. Then her voice came back, stiff. I've already managed to get Louis another interview. To make up for your mistake, you're going with him the day after tomorrow. I glanced at my calendar and refused directly. I don't have time. I'd had a lot of time to think these past few days. Given Isabella's current status, she didn't need to be at her company every day. Everything related to Louis shouldn't have to be handled by me personally. Isabella had a responsibility and an obligation, too. The only reason she refused to do it was to force me, again and again, to prove how important she and Louis were by choosing them. The other end of the line went silent, followed by a dial tone. I stared at the phone for a moment, then blocked the new number. 2 days later, Louis's name appeared on my phone screen. I answered, and a polite woman's voice came on the line. Hello, Louis's father? I'm Louis's pre-K teacher. It's his first day of class, and it seems he forgot his books. Would it be possible for you to bring them to him? That's when I remembered. The kindergarten prep course I had signed Louis up for started today. It seemed Isabella had noticed the whiteboard by the door after all. This prep course was one of the most prestigious in Boston. I'd had to pull strings with a college classmate just to get him in. I had taken Louis to pick up his books and even covered each one for him. However, I'm sorry, teacher, but could you please try to contact his mother? His mother and I are currently separated and proceeding with a divorce, so it's not convenient for me to go back and get them. The line was silent for a full 3 seconds. The teacher had clearly never encountered this situation before. Her voice sounded awkward. Oh, I see. The child didn't explain clearly. He just said his dad put them away and that he always just calls his dad to bring things. I knew Louis's watch phone was on speaker, so I enunciated every word clearly. Louis, your books are on the desk in the study. Call your mom and ask her to bring them to you. From now on, if you forget anything, you need to tell your mom. Dad isn't going to come back to get things for you anymore. There was no response from the other end. Just as I was about to hang up, I heard Louis's voice, thick with tears, resentful and hurt. Humph, if you won't bring them, then never bring me anything ever again. I'll just have Uncle Caleb bring them. I really can't watch this anymore. The husband is so stubborn. The wife already called him from a new number. Isn't that her way of making peace? How far is he going to push her? He blocked her again? He totally deserves the hell that's coming for him when he has to win her back. If she really runs off with the other guy, he won't even have tears left to cry. The kid is innocent. Even if Isabella is at fault, what does little Louis know? The husband is being way too rigid. Actually, the wife was all set to go to the interview with him that day. She was ready to apologize. The husband doesn't know anything. That poor mother and son. Poor? I'd say pitiful people often have their detestable side. On the day of Louis's rescheduled interview, a colleague and I went out for dinner. Coincidentally, Caleb was also at the same restaurant, celebrating Louis's acceptance. Louis stood before me, holding Caleb's hand, his face full of resentment. Uncle Caleb took me to the interview today. You're an irresponsible father, and I don't want you to be my dad anymore. I'll never forgive you. In the past, Louis's words would have probably sent me into a long bout of self-reflection. But now I just looked at him calmly. Your mother and I are getting a divorce. You can freely choose who you want to be your father. You're going to be a first grader soon. You need to listen to your teachers at school. They'll be better at guiding your moral compass than some people. Isabella was sitting nearby, close enough to hear our conversation. At that moment, her face was unbelievably ugly. She shot up from her seat and started walking toward me. Caleb sneered, a mocking look on his face. Ethan, don't just talk about divorce without taking any action. Who do you think you're scaring? If you've decided to get a divorce, then just get down to the courthouse and file the papers. If you don't want to, then stop trying to intimidate people. Do you think tormenting adults and children like this is fun? Isabella stopped in her tracks, her eyes fixed on my face. She seemed to be sizing up my reaction. I smiled and pulled a freshly printed document from my bag. No, it's not fun. I handed the divorce agreement, drafted by my lawyer, to Isabella. My lawyer drew this up. You should read it carefully. You get custody of Louis. Premarital assets remain separate. Marital assets will be divided as stipulated by law. If you have no objections, I'm off tomorrow afternoon. We can go straight to the courthouse. The live comments suddenly exploded. Husband, don't be serious. The wife was actually trying to win you back just now. She even paid for your table's bill. Totally. After this dinner, she was going to take the kid and find you, and the family of 3 would have a beautiful reunion. Ugh. I can't stand seeing him torture her like this. Just apologize right now and say you were joking, and she'll definitely forgive you. If you kissed her, she'd probably climb on the table and hug you right now. You can't get a divorce. You're her whole life. This is all just a test. I swear this is the last time she'll ever act out like this. The last time? Why should I believe this would be the last time? Why should I forgive her this one last time? At this point, I no longer cared whether Isabella was testing her importance in my heart or if she genuinely wanted a divorce. I just wanted to get this over with. I didn't want to repeat this cycle of self-doubt and emotional drain anymore. It was pointless. Isabella stared at the divorce agreement in her hands, her eyes filled with disbelief. Even Caleb was so shocked his jaw dropped. You actually dare? I nodded politely. If there's nothing else, please don't disturb my colleague and me during our meal. I hope you enjoy yours as well. Louis, pouting, pulled Isabella and Caleb back toward their own table. Ignore Daddy. We'll go home and change the locks, and we'll never let him come back. You don't have to take a child's words to heart. But it was true. I was never going back. Caleb's social media feed was quite lively during this period. One day he was taking Louis to his prep class. The next he was accompanying Isabella to various business dinners. Even at a meal with executives from a top tech company, Isabella would cater to his tastes and order him a plate of sliders. During that time, a mutual acquaintance cautiously sent me a message. Did you and Isabella get divorced? She sent me a screenshot of a chat between a few employees at Isabella's company. Is the boss getting a new husband? Why is this Caleb guy so arrogant? He told everyone he's our future boss's man. Isn't he supposed to be arrogant? Did he say that, or did the boss say that? Someone from the 29th floor secretarial pool saw them kissing in the office. Does anyone else need to say it? Seriously, I've never even met the boss's husband and now he's an ex-husband? The new guy says the ex-husband abandoned his wife and child. That he's not worthy of our boss. Do you guys believe that? Only an idiot would. I quickly scanned the messages and replied, yes, we're divorced. Then I put my phone down. Half a month later, the New York City hospital where I did my training posted job openings. My qualifications met all the application requirements. I had originally graduated from that hospital's affiliated 8-year clinical program but chose to move to the up-and-coming city of Boston for Isabella. Now times had changed. It was time to start planning for myself again. My old mentor somehow found out about my situation and sent me a message the day I applied. You are my student, and I will support your choices at any stage. If you run into any difficulties, just let me know. Don't get trapped in any problem. Like I've always told you, focus on finding the solution. For the next few weeks, I was in a state of intense preparation for the exams. The next time I thought of Isabella was when a notification on my phone reminded me that the divorce cooling-off period was about to end. A full 28 days. People say it only takes 21 days to form a habit. Turns out, breaking one takes about the same amount of time. My dreams were no longer visited by the rebellious, beautiful girl in the school uniform. I no longer found myself constantly thinking of the little gas tank of a baby gurgling and waving his chubby fists in his crib. And I no longer woke up from nightmares crying, my face a mess. Outside the city clerk's office, Isabella stood on the steps, a look of impatience on her face. In a black car parked nearby, Caleb and Louis were laughing together, waiting for her to get the process over with. They were wearing the latest trendy parent-child matching outfits, looking for all the world like a real family. That was good. Everyone was eager to move forward. The moment we received our divorce certificates, Isabella shot me a look of utter disdain. Good thing we didn't rip up our marriage license back then, or getting divorced now would have been a hassle. True, we got our license when we were most in love. That day, Isabella clutched the certificate and stared at it for a long time, then suddenly looked up at me. Ethan, let's rip it up. They say if you don't have a marriage certificate, you can't get a divorce. Looking back now, I'm incredibly grateful we didn't. I nodded in agreement with her. Yes. She glared at me fiercely, then quickly walked toward the black car, as if spending another second with me was disgusting. Louis was pressed against the car window, shouting for his mom, acting as if he didn't even see me. Caleb's eyes were glued to the divorce certificate in Isabella's hand, the triumphant smile on his face no longer even disguised. I wasn't pretending either. I made plans with a few good colleagues for a farewell dinner. That's right. I had received an offer from my dream hospital. I was heading to a bigger institution to work my tail off. The pace at the NYC hospital was fast. On clinic days, there wasn't even time for a bathroom break. On surgery days, you wished you could plug the patient's oxygen tube into your own nose. But it was precisely the massive volume of patients and the high difficulty of the surgeries that allowed me to accumulate so much experience. Every time I snatched a person from the jaws of death, every time I received the heartfelt thanks of a patient and their family, I felt genuinely happy. It's a tough profession, but it's also an incredibly fulfilling one. Maybe one day in the future, I will regret the choice I made today. But you have to live in the present. I would cook good meals for myself and put fresh, nice bedding on my bed. When I craved bubble tea, I'd order one. Before sleep, I'd read a book I enjoyed. On my days off, I'd go to an exhibition if I had time. At work, I'd do my best to heal every patient. I no longer had to worry about the papers on my computer being deleted or about failing to manage someone's emotions. Not living by others' opinions, not comparing myself to anyone. I was fine just like this. Isabella didn't give me a hard time with the division of assets. It was more than enough for me to live a very comfortable life. I rented a large apartment and even got a Shiba Inu. Every morning before work, I would take him for a walk around the neighborhood. When I got home, he would be waiting by the door, watching me eagerly. I posted videos of him on social media, and my brand new account instantly gained tens of thousands of followers. He was already a dog who could support himself. This peaceful and pleasant life continued for 2 full months. One evening, a high school classmate I barely knew suddenly contacted me. She told me that Isabella and Caleb were getting married. I just said, oh, and didn't reply further. The typing indicator popped up and disappeared, as if she wanted to say more. I heard Isabella still has feelings for you. She's such an amazing person. Maybe you should try to win her back. So that was it. There's always a motive. I clicked on this classmate's social media profile. It was all posts about AI projects. She must have been in close contact with Isabella recently. I sent back a smiling emoji. I'm busy with other things. Blocking you now. We both had our own lives now. Whether Isabella was getting married, divorced, or having another child, she didn't need to inform me. This acquaintance was clearly being used as a messenger. Whether she genuinely wanted me to go back and reconcile or was just trying to provoke me, I didn't care. During the Columbus Day weekend, a lot of people were getting married. But not Isabella and Caleb. It was my sharp-tongued best friend, Jax. Boston is still a small town. When Jax gets married, someone is bound to know which hotel his friends and family are staying at. Because I ran into Isabella right at the hotel entrance. She had been standing downstairs all night. When she saw me come out, she, looking disheveled, cautiously handed me a container of breakfast. Sticky rice. It was a specialty from my hometown. You're always so busy with work, and your stomach isn't great. Eat something before you go pick up the bride. Her voice trembled, as if she had been deeply wronged. The live comments became lively again. All right, the wife has gone this far. The husband should be able to forgive her now, right? Dude above, do you still not get it? There's no way he's going back. Who would trade a life of peace to go back and clean up that mess? But without him, how is she supposed to survive? If she can't survive, she can die. What's with all this whining, right? And she brings him sticky rice. Even I remember he doesn't like sticky rice, let alone giving it to someone with a sensitive stomach. Okay, just end it. She's still acting all pitiful and waiting for him to comfort her? Does she even deserve it? I took 2 steps back, putting some distance between myself and Isabella. The hotel buffet is very good. I'm full. Her hand, holding the breakfast, remained stubbornly suspended in mid-air, as if she wouldn't let me leave until I took it. Resigned, I took the breakfast from her. Isabella, if your stomach is sensitive, you should eat less sticky rice, especially when it's cold. She froze for a moment, standing there in silence. My friends came out of the hotel lobby and saw me. We had all hung out together the night before, so we were fairly familiar. Ethan, what's that in your hand? Sticky rice? I turned around. Yeah, you want some? The guy quickly came over. Perfect, I didn't eat breakfast. I'll take it. Isabella watched this scene unfold, her mouth agape in disbelief. Before, even if you didn't like something, as long as I gave it to you, you would eat it. So she knew all along. She knew about all the things I disliked but ate anyway. Just because of her. Not anymore. And never again. I looked her straight in the eye and said calmly, "We are divorced, Isabella. If possible, I hope we have no more contact, aside from the transaction records on my bank statement. I would continue to pay child support for Louis on time." Isabella's mouth opened and closed as she tried to explain. I never said I wanted to divorce you. I never wanted to divorce you at all. I couldn't help but cut her off, unwilling to hear any more. You went to the city clerk's office twice. Both times you went by yourself. No one forced you. Isabella blocked my path. Frantic. No, Ethan, listen to me, it was Caleb. He said it would scare you. You're never obedient. You're always abandoning me and Louis. I just wanted you to stay by my side. I wanted you to only look at me. No person, no thing could be more important than me. But without me, you wouldn't have that problem. And you seem to be living quite happily, don't you? With every word I spoke, her head lowered a little more. Louis really likes Caleb, and you've given Caleb a position at your company. He can be there for you completely, go on trips, be on time, and never miss your birthdays. Most importantly, in the months since our divorce, I've been very happy. Really, let's just end it here. After I returned to New York City, Isabella started bringing Louis to wait for me downstairs in my neighborhood every weekend. Sometimes I was at work, sometimes I was walking my dog. At first, Louis would hold up his test papers and look at me with a pitiful expression. "Daddy, I got so many questions wrong. The teacher said you should help me correct my mistakes." I glanced at him and offered Isabella some sincere advice. "You should hire a tutor. It's better than getting frustrated yourself." Later, he switched to showing off awards. "Daddy, I won first place in the model airplane competition. Can you come with me to the finals?" I shook my head. "I don't know anything about that. You should have your mom take you." They came so often that curious neighbors started asking what our relationship was. I told them bluntly, my ex-wife who initiated the divorce, and the son who supported her decision. The faces of a few of the older women in the building instantly changed, and they started spewing a stream of local slang I couldn't understand. It sounded pretty foul. The last time I saw Isabella was at the entrance to my apartment complex. Louis must have tripped getting out of the car. His knee was scraped. Isabella held him, her eyes full of expectation, thinking I would feel sorry for him and run over to comfort him like I used to. But I only glanced at them before getting into the cab I had just called to head to the hospital. A scraped knee is not a big deal. At any time, it is not a big deal. Before closing the car door, I gave Isabella a formal warning. "If you come to harass me again, I can and will call the police." She grabbed desperately at the car door, her eyes webbed with red veins. "Ethan, I love you. Can you just give me one more chance? It was all my fault. I'll never force you to choose again. I can't live without you. For the sake of our child, can't you forgive me one last time, Ethan?" I remember a long time ago, when she threw all my things out of the house. She had cried and repented to me just like this. So-called love. So-called can't live without you. So-called insecurity. It was all just because she was used to my devotion and care. They were just her tools for manipulating me. "Isabella, do you know what my favorite saying is? Once I'm gone for good." I looked into her eyes and said, word by word, "Let's end this relationship with dignity. Don't say another meaningless word. Don't make another unnecessary gesture. And don't be bitter just because the ending didn't go your way. Let me go and let yourself go." The taxi slowly pulled away. I rolled up the window, shutting out the sound of her sobbing. 2 years later, I heard news of Isabella again. Her company was being investigated for tax evasion. The amount involved was massive. I vaguely remembered that her company's CFO was Caleb. Jax forwarded me a video. "This is going viral all over Boston. You have to see this." Summer had already arrived in New York. I clicked on the video while holding my Shiba's leash. The main characters in the video were Isabella and Caleb, the two people who had grown up together and were once on the verge of marriage. Now they were brawling in public. "Screw you, Caleb. I only used the divorce to scare him because I listened to you. You ruined my family, and that wasn't enough. Now you're ruining my company and sending me to prison. I'm such an idiot. Give me back my husband. Give me back my husband." Caleb was crying, clear handprints visible on his face. "I was doing it for you. I just wanted to help you make more money, to stop you from being sad over that man. But why can't you just let him go? Why? Haven't I been good to you?" Even Louis was willing to accept me as his dad. The little boy who was mentioned clutched his backpack and cried even harder. "I don't want you as my dad. My dad is really smart and gets 100 on all his tests, but you can't even help me with my homework. Boo-hoo-hoo. You yelled at my teacher, and my teacher said she hates parents like you, so now she doesn't like me either." Caleb pounded his chest like a madman. "God is my witness. I did it all for you. We're so rich, why should we let a teacher walk all over us? I just wanted to put her in her place, to make sure she took good care of you. It's because I told her off that you got to sit in the front row, and she started reminding you to drink water and go to the bathroom." I couldn't help but shake my head and close the video. What did that poor teacher do to deserve this? My dog, seeing me staring at my phone, gave the leash a firm tug, pulling me forward. As far as I could see, there were countless gentle sunsets and evening breezes. I had completely shed my old scars and was starting anew. Welcome to the summer of me.